All right. Welcome in, guys. So the first thing, this is a knitting machine. This is the Addy knitting machine. I did a lot of research before I bought my knitting machine because I wanted to find the best one. And this one is the best one that I've found, and it's a good quality, it holds up, and so that's why I got this one. What we're gonna make, the first thing that we're gonna make on here today is a little hair tie. So this you can put around your ponytail, and it's really pretty simple to make. And so I wanted to do that one first. It takes the least amount of time, so I just thought we'd start with that. So what you need to do first is you need to find your first pin. So that means the black one on the Addy. There's 3 black pins you'll see here, and then the rest are white. And the first black pin is also numbered number 1. So it has a number 1. And so right before we get that, on all of my projects, if you watch people that use knitting machines, not all of them use waste yarn. It's easier for me, and I know then that I'm not missing stitches, I'm getting everything I need right. So what you have to do then on your knitting machine, first round, whether it be your actual project or if you're doing your waste yarn, is to cast on. So we're just going to put a loop around the first black, and we're going to start going so that it catches. And then so we're going to go in front of the first one, behind the second, in front of the next, behind the next. And we're just going to weave it back and forth, back, in front, behind, all the way around. And that is casting on for your knitting. Okay, so this is the last one. We've come around it. We're going to put it in our gauge, and then we're just going to kind of loosely hold it. So we're not going to hold tight. We're not, because we don't want like tight tension, but we just kind of want it to run through our fingers. If you've ever done crocheting or knitting, you just kind of want it to run through your fingers and make sure that you are catching any knots that might be coming your way or any problems with the yarn. So for my waste yarn, we are using this cream color, and we're just going to go around. So for the first couple rounds, you just want to go pretty slow. You don't want to speed through, because you just want to make sure that it is doing what it's supposed to do, that you don't have any problems. And for your waste yarn, you only need maybe 5-6 rounds, depending. I kind of just go by sight, not so much by an exact number. And I do reuse my waste yarn. I used part of what I had for a project a little bit ago, and so then I had to reuse some more. So what we're gonna do, we're good. We have a good amount on there. So right after the last one, right before your first black comes back, that's when you're going to start your project again. So we're going to use this one. It is a Mainstay, which is the off-brand of Walmart. What you want to look for is yarn that is a medium 4 weight or less. You don't want any thicker than a 4. And so we are going to pull some of this out. Now for this hair tie, again, we are gonna make some little hair ties. You want 15 rounds. So this is the 46 Addy. You want 15 rounds. So we're gonna drop a tail into the middle, we're going to take out our waste yarn and drop to the center, and then put our project yarn into the guide. And we're going to hold the two tails for just a minute. Plus we're going to reset our counter just so we know where we're at. So we are holding onto our two tails, and we're going to go 15 rounds. So we don't have to recast on because we're just continuing where we're at. We've already cast it on. So we're going to start going, and we're just going to hold the tails until it catches. And then I can bring my hand and it's just kind of resting up here, holding the yarn as I go. And I'm going to go 15 rounds. So what I like about the Addy is that it comes with braces to hold it to your table. It also comes with a counter that works. The other brand that a lot of people use, so any of the machines that I'm talking about, they are in my bio. So if you click on my picture, click on it again and go into my link tree, the top links in my link tree are for the Addy and the Centro. So the Addy is the more expensive one, but basically you get what you pay for. So if you are not sure if this would be a good hobby for you, if you want to just try it on a less expensive machine, then go for the Centro. And those are all pinned in my link tree of what you're looking for. So this is the 46 Addy, it's the bigger one, and then I also have a 22. You just can't really see it from where you're perched right now, but I do have a 22 as well. The 22 of course is smaller, and it's going to be for smaller type projects. So like on the smaller 22, I'm making little gnomes. So this is going to be the body of a gnome. It was made on the 22. And then this is just a hat that I made, and it was made on my 46, which I'm making now. So you can see the different size projects. So let's go to 15. We're almost there. We're on round 12. We're going to 15. This will be round 13. 14. And 15. All right, so we're going to find our black pin, stop right before our black pin. We are going to cut off some yarn, put it into the machine. And this is just empty. There's nothing in here. It's just a hole to the table. And let's do some casting off. This looks like, well, I'd rather do it a different color. This might not be a whole lot, but that's okay. It's easier to find your stitches if it is a very contrasting color. So again, we're going to do waste yarn around just to help us cast off the machine, find our stitches so we can finish the project. And it doesn't matter, we're just going to keep going until we run out of waste yarn. And then once we run out of waste yarn, we'll just keep spinning it and it will take itself off the machine. It will just release off the machine So we're just gonna drop this in there, spin it all the way around again, and it'll start dropping off the machine. Sometimes one of them might not, so you just like take it off the loop. But this is going to turn into one of these hair ties. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find a hair tie. I'm just gonna lightly pull on it and make sure that it is it's not gonna just fall apart as soon as somebody would stretch it out. Then we're gonna get our crochet hook. This one is a size F. You can use different sizes. This one is easier. I was using a little bit bigger hook, and it was kind of hard sometimes to get into these smaller projects, so it's just easier for me that way. Now I'm just gonna go around and kind of gently tug on the stitches just to kind of spread them out a little bit, because on here they're so compact, so you just kind of go around your project and stretch them out, whether it be a hat or whatever project you are working on, you are just stretching them out a little bit. Okay, so let's get all of our yarn to the same, or over and around here. And what you're gonna do is you are going to turn it inside out. You want the opposite side out here, and you are just going to kind of squeeze it together and put the hair tie in there. And then you can just kind of spread it out a little bit so you can see your stitches. And then what you're gonna do, so the waste yarn here on this side is the cream color, on this side it is the blue color. We're just gonna find the outside stitch on both sides. And there's different ways that you can put projects together. Sometimes you are going to put your end thread on a needle, and you're just gonna go under each of your top stitches. For this project, we're just going to slip stitch around with a crochet hook, and it just slip stitches around the hair tie, putting it together. So I'm gonna match up my two ends. So these are the ends from both sides, and I'm gonna find the first stitch for each one. Let's see, we don't want to do that one. So we're going to grab the outside stitch of one, and then over to the opposite side, and we're just going to slip stitch. And then we're going to go back to the other side, slip stitch. And we're going to go back and forth all the way across, slip stitching. And it makes this way makes a really nice edge on your hair tie. And again, the waste yarn just helps you see those stitches easier. And it also helps you not have to take it off while it's on the machine. Some people don't use waste yarn and they just grab it off the machine. But especially when you're a beginner, you have a bigger chance of losing a stitch off the machine, and then you have a problem. And sometimes it's easier just to redo the entire project. So depending upon how big your project is, I mean, like this one, 15 rounds is not going to take that long. But if you're doing like a hat, a beanie, you don't want to have to redo the entire thing. So the waste yarn really helps with that. So we are just going back and forth, back and forth. Make sure grabbing the outermost stitch each time. And you see you're making a really nice little border on your hair tie. A really nice edge. We are just going back and forth to make our hair tie after we made it on the knitting machine. So we did the rounds on the knitting machine, and now we are just going back and forth, grabbing our stitches, slip stitching across the way, enclosing the hair tie into our little knitted case, basically, our little knitted shell. Now, depending on the project, it depends upon how you finish, how you take your stitches off with your waste yarn. Sometimes I do slip stitch depending upon the project. Sometimes you can just take your thread and just go through each stitch around the side. But for this, we're just kind of gathering it together, finishing it off, plus then, easily finding the stitches because of the waste yarn. When you get towards the end, it might get a little harder. You kind of have to spread it out because it starts bunching. Because you got to remember there is a hair tie in there. So the hair tie kind of starts pulling as you're getting towards the end, and you just have to kind of make sure you're getting all your stitches as you go. We are almost there. All right, then I gotta find make sure that I'm getting all of them. Okay, we are at the end, so I want to make sure that I'm getting all the little loops. Let's see, where does that go? Almost there. I think I have them all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 working yarn pieces from both sides. So you have 2, and I'm just going to loop them through my last loop that I had on, just to make sure it's going to hold it until I make sure that I don't have any loose stitches. And then we're going to remove our waste yarn. So on one side, all you have to do is start pulling on the outside and the whole thing just comes undone. Oh, I guess I could show you. Pull it right out. Out. And that's off. And then on the other side can be a little trickier. So you've got to figure out which one is the outside loop or the outside string. It's not going to just pull off. So what you have to do is you have to find, and that on this one it's opposite of what it would be on a beanie because of the way we had to make it. So on this one you're going to find an inside loop, and you're going to kind of, what you just have to do is kind of I say that and then I think I did it wrong. Did I do it wrong? I might have went from the wrong direction. And then you get yourself a mess, honestly. And I do that occasionally too. There we go. It had just gotten tangled in there a little bit. So you have to like find the first round and pull it through, and then, oh, we're not there yet. I thought we were there. So find the first round and pull it through separately, and then it'll release it and you can just do the normal way. Boop. Okay, so you have a very clean edge, and now I'm just going to look around and make sure that we caught all of the loops on both sides before we tie it off. Looks like it. And so now your little hair tie is trapped inside, but it makes a really cute ponytail holder. So what we need to do now is finish it off, because we still have these that we haven't tied off. We just had looped them through to secure them while we took off the waste yarn. So I'm going to put these back on my needle. And all of these supplies can be found in my link tree over the rainbow, kscrafts.com. Well, actually, it's Linktree. It's just in the, it's the link in my bio. So then we're going to tie this off. I got to figure out how I want to do this. We're just going to kind of grab a stitch or two, pull through, and just make a little knot. And we're going to go through and do that like about 3 times, and then pull the tail through the project. So especially on these, you want to make sure that you get them secure so that you can hide them in your work. I mean, any project you do, but some of them's easier to do than like a little hair tie, because you can't turn your hair tie inside out like you can a hat to secure it. Okay, so I'm going to go through the project to the inside, pull it through, and then I'm going to pull on each yarn piece individually and kind of try to pull that knot through a little bit. Okay, So it is in there. Now we're just gonna clip these. Close to the surface, and then when you pull it and stretch it out, they go inside there. And then you have a hair tie. That's simple. So that is all you do for a hair tie. Tomorrow we will do something, maybe a hat, something a little bit bigger. So I hope you can join me then. We will talk to you soon. Bye.